Hi, Shalom. I'm Richard Angelas. Welcome to a series of short videos called Wise Counsel, where I'm going to ask our experienced staff and sometimes invited guests to answer questions from our students on these three main topics. Number one, leadership and discipleship. Number two, on Bible study. And number three, on current issues, particularly concerning the Christian Fellowship CF in our college and university. We hope to provide biblical and basic counsel to inspire our students towards holistic growth in Christ and to empower them to live out the gospel. The scripture says this in Proverbs chapter 11, verse 14. Where there is no guidance, a people falls, but in an abundance of counselors, there is safety. Hi, welcome to another installment of Wise Counsel, and this is episode 9. And with us today is Decxlen. Hi, how are you, Decxlen?
Hi. I'm fine, thank you.
Where are you from? I mean, where are you currently?
Okay, I'm currently staying at Bintulu. Here.
Okay, all right. So as you can see, that our question for this episode is how to balance studies with CF. But before that, let us get to know a little bit more about Decxlen. What is your latest movie or drama that you watched?
I've watched Shang-Chi last week. That would be my latest movie.
Yeah. Wow. Yes, I love Marvel movie too. So, Decxlen, maybe just introduce a little bit about Decxlen. She was graduating from UNITA International University in Kuching, and she taking Bachelor of Education in major in Mathematic, and the result is very, very good, which is she is having a first class. Yeah, like X-Men first class.
First class means your pointer is in between 3.75 and 4. The full pointer would be 4.
Oh, all right. Thank you very much for that. So I think it is fit for you to respond to this question. When we talk about CF meaning Christian Fellowship, but how long have you been with CF in your campus?
I supposed to be with CF around 3 years, but because of this pandemic, so my studies was become more longer, which is 4 years. So I've been with CF 4 years since the starting of my study until the end of my studies. Yeah, that's how long I've been with CF.
Yeah, everyone is affected by COVID. And what are position that you hold while you are in Christian Fellowship?
Okay, while I was in CF Christian Fellowship 2 years, I was as only a member, CF member, and another 2 years I was a committee of CF.
Yep. Committee by president, right?
Yes, committee by president. But I'm not the president for 2 years. For the first year, I was logistic committee, and second year, I was a CF president.
Yes. All right. So what are some maybe some of the memories that you have, or some challenges while you are in CF, especially as a committee?
Okay, challenges as a committee. I think the question today fits my challenges, because if you ask any CF committees or any CF member, I think that will be their question: how to balance studies with CF. And as for memories, the memories that I kept until now, there's a lot of memories, but the greatest memories will be how I spend my time with the committee and the members, also with the advisors.
Yeah, I think this is very interesting. When you get the best of both, can we say the best of both worlds in your studies and also in your Christian Fellowship? And when I think about this question, it is possible both to be excellent in studies and also serving faithfully in CF. As a FAS staff, we don't want to separate between studies and also Christian Fellowship. And I think that our calling as a student is to studies, but our identities remain the same, which is Christian as a Christ follower. Now, let us tackle this question, which is what you say just now, is that this is the same question that you had when you are still studying, but now perhaps you can see a bigger picture of it, And just disclaimer, this is from your perspective, and this is very helpful for you, both in your studies and in your CF. So let us tackle this question: how to balance your studies with CF?
This question, I think when I was a student, I think I couldn't have any specific answer to answer the question. But when I graduate, when I've become a graduate right now, when I look back into how I manage my time, I think there's 4 tips that I want to share with others. It could be cliche, yeah, it could be cliche, but that is it. That is how I manage my time. Okay, and then I would like to share my first point, which is to balance your CF and to balance your studies. Is the first important thing is you need to do is to plan ahead, to have your plan. Okay, what I'm saying here is not to have a written plan, because for me myself, I'm not a person that have a specific timetable, that write my timetable and paste it on the wall and follow all the timetables. For me myself, I have a rough plan in my mind, and then I will follow. There's a time when we cannot follow the plan. There's a time when we deviate from the plan. But as long as we know that this is what the things that I should do, this is what the thing that will keep us on track. And how do I plan is in my university where I study, which is Unitar. During first semester, we will have the course plan. So that's how I plan. And then for the CF, before I became CF committee, as I am a CF member, I know that every Friday we will have Friday gathering. So that I know every Friday, 12 to 2 is the time for me to accommodate myself for CF gathering. So that is my free time. And because I have the course plan, I know when is my assignment due date, when is my forum. So I need to settle everything down before the Friday gathering. There's no excuses for me actually. Because if I were to have also discussion, for example, we have group assignments, so we need to do discussion. I think 12 to 2 is not, it's also not, it's also not a good time for us to have a discussion, because it's lunch times.
Yes.
And also it's a race time. So I think that's how I help myself in planning. And when I become a committee, every early of the semester, we would plan our CF program, so that we will know in which date, in what time that we need to have free time just for CF. That's how I plan my entire 4 years in CF and how I balance my studies in CF. It's not easy to do, but when you have a will, then it goes to you.
Yeah, I think before you go ahead to another point, it's good to know that there are people like you yourself. I think myself also. We don't really using timetable or schedule. Where's my calendar and all that. But if you are the type of person who have calendar and all that, by all means, using the calendar, right? And all that.
Yes.
If you are a CF member, perhaps you can ask the committee to share with you guys what are some of the planning of CF ahead, so that you can adjust accordingly.
I think that is also one of the good point. And to improve the CF also, what you said just now is a good points, brother. I think CF member or CF committee should come out with an idea at the early semester. They should come out with a good plan of CF, so that other CF member will know what will happen throughout the semester.
Nice. Yes, there are some CF with other stuff. They call it CPR. It's a planning retreat with the committees, and it is really helpful. As a CF members, please share the activity to your members. And if you don't know what is the planning as a members, ask from your committee members. Oh, thank you very much. Is there anything to add in that first point? If not, we can proceed to the second one.
I think we should proceed to the second one. Okay. As for the second one is to know your priority. I think not only as a CF member, but as the students, as the children, we should know what is our first priority. What should come first? What I mean by priorities mean your priorities will not always be the same. It depends on the time and it depends on the occasion. So for me, when I was a student, I have 3 priorities to be exact. One is as a committee members, of course, and another one is as a students, and another one is as a daughter and sisters. So I think most of the students, that is their priority. And then how I manage is I look into the which things come first. For example, if my studies come first, if the due date is near, or if my exam is around the corner, so my priority will be my studies. And if the CF event or the CF planning is around the corner, so my priority would be CF. But if my family members have an urgent matter, so some things that I cannot, some things that I need to plan to, some things that I need to come to, so then my family members will be my first priority. Also friends also sometimes should be your priority, because you might not know what happens to your friends when you only focus on studies, when you only focus on your families, and when you only focus on your CF. So for me, these four things is my priority. Which one come first is depend on the situation and depend on the occasion at that time.
Wow. So how do you realize that you have this priority prior going to campus? Or is this habit that you have before you going to UNITA?
No, it's not my habit before this. It's become my habit when I was a CF committee. When I was a CF member also, it's not my habit. When I become a CF committee in my first year, I started to realize that, I cannot do two things at one time. I'm not a person that cannot multitasking too much thing. For example, if I have 3 assignments going on and then I need to do CF things, then I cannot. So that's how I come out with an idea that I need to prioritize what things come first. Then I can relax my mind and focus only on one task.
Yeah, I think it's a good explanation whereby you learn along the way. And I think this is tied in with the third point, which is self-discipline. Yeah.
Yes. So this, the 2 points that I said earlier would be tie in with the third point. Okay, self-discipline. When people ask me, okay, how do you study? How do you get your result? How do you manage everything? How do you balance it? So before this, I would said it goes like that. But when I graduated and I realized self-discipline is the most important thing for you, not only as students, but I think as a human being itself. As a Christian also, self-discipline is very important. For example, I give an example. Me, myself, I always have this resolution early in the year that I need to finish my Bible studies by the end of the year. But going through, and then right now it's November, I'm still half of the books. So that's how I realize self-discipline is very important. You need to remind yourself every day that this is what the things that I should do. Yes, procrastination will happen along the way.
Yeah.
But when you learn to self-discipline yourself, then you will always constantly remind yourself every day that I have a task that I need to do, then I need to finish this by today. If not, then I need to face the consequences by myself. There's one experience that I go through during my CF time. And at that time, I remember with my friends also a CF committee. So we have an assignment that we need to submit by tomorrow. But then I said, but then I keep on doing, I don't know what I'm doing that time, but I keep on doing something else. And then by the time 10 o'clock in the night, which the class was supposed to be at in the morning. So, okay, I started to do my assignment, the assignment that requires me to refer all of those research before this. And then I finished my assignment by 7 in the morning, believe it or not. And then that's how I learned that I need to self-discipline myself. When I want to do something, I need to do it first, then I can do other things.
Yeah. I think that is the things that also a process of learning into self-discipline. Therefore, this is the difference between as a student in university and campuses. You don't have your parent to push you to, hey, you need to do this, you need to do that. So you need to learn along the way, having self-discipline. But perhaps it's not just about you, right? I mean, there's support from other people's too. Yeah.
Yes, it is. I think my success, my result, it's not only about me. I'm not standing alone. I have people that back up me. And then, like brother said just now, we don't have parents in our campus. Okay, it's a lonely journey for me before I know my friends and before I know my advisor. I'm going through everything alone, and then when I go to CF, and then I know my CF friends, and I know CF advisors. There it goes. The journey started, and then when I have something that I need to refer to, for example, about my studies, and for example about how should I manage this thing, then I go to them. I know that I can rely on them. I know that I can trust on them, because through the experience that I've been going through, they are there. They are there for me, and they always support me. There's one experience that I go through. At times I have around 2 assignments that I need to go out to have an observation in the school.
Okay.
Which is, one is counseling and education, and another one is pedagogy and education. So we need to go to the schools. And then during that time, CF events also going on. So at first I was thinking, like, how should I myself? So how I come out with a solution, and then I ask for help from the other committees and from my friends, not a CF member also. So that's how I go through. That's how I solve everything back then, by the helps from other people, not only by myself. And also, not to forget my father's. He always gives me a good advice every day. If I come to the end of the road that I don't found any solution, so he's the one that I will go to first.
Yeah, therefore the fourth tips will be ask for help and support from advisors and your friends. And for you will be extra more with your father. Well, thank you very much. So here are so let me just repeat. There are 4 things that Decxlen was suggesting. Number 1 is to plan ahead. Number 2 is to know your priority. Number 3 is to have self-discipline. And of course, number 4, ask for help and support from your advisors and parents and friends and parents. Okay. Is there any last word from you before we end this conversation?
Okay, my last word would be about CF itself. So I grow in a CF. I grow as a Christian in a CF, and I have a fond memory of CF. So what I want is that to the future students and to the future CF students, that you should enjoy your CF life. You should balance your CF and studies. Then when you graduate, you will find out that, oh, this is how I'm going through everything. And if you are not doing that right now, so you need to do it, because once you graduated, that will be only your memories to cherish.
Wow. Thank you for promoting CF. Yes, this is what it is all about. So again, we don't want to separate between studies and also Christian fellowship. Your calling, of course, is to become a student in studies, but our identities remain the same as Christ follower wherever we are. I think it is fit for us to close, taken from 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 31 says this. So whether you eat or drink or whatever, in that whatever we include studies, whatever or in CF, do it all to the glory of God. Thank you very much, Decxlen, for spending the time to share with us. Again, congratulations for your good result, and also for serving in CF. Yes, you want to say again something?
Thank you very much, brother, for having me today. And it was a great experience also.
All right, thank you very much. Do you like our question, or do you have any further question? You can come and ask. You can inbox us through Facebook Messenger, or comment below. And don't forget to share, subscribe our YouTube channel, and also Instagram and Facebook page. Until we meet again in another episode. Goodbye.